G'day, hobbyist. Anthony from AOS Coach here, bringing you the Road to CanCon, and holy shitballs, it is 5 weeks to go until we are playing in the world's largest Age of Sigmar singles event at CanCon. Guys, what the hell? 5 weeks to go. Are we ready?
No.
I'm sure you're the only person who feels that way. So we have a jammed packed house full of Australia's best looking people. I don't know. You know, the girls have probably fled the nightclubs. They realised that the sexiest men in the world are not there. So who do we have on the line? Throw it over to you guys. Introduce yourselves.
My name's Joel. I'm from Bendigo, Overlord of Measured Gaming, and I'm here tonight painting up some goats.
Nice. With that introduction, Magro, I suppose I should go, since Doom and Darkness, Michael himself and I are grudging the first round of CanCon for the best looking face of Australian Age of Sigmar YouTube. I am Tim, the Aussie Wargamer, and I will not be winning that game, I don't think, taking Bretonia against Gutbusters.
So you're going to win in the looks department, but the gaming is going to be all Doom.
Indeed.
Well, it's good to have you back. People who have been following along this stream have probably seen us. Who else do we have on the line?
Yeah, I'm Randy. So just first time joining in. I'm from Tassie, so all the way down in the desolate cold wastes. And I've only just started getting into the AOS scene recently. I played a lot of 8th, and I completely missed first edition because everyone in Tasmania chucked a hissy fit and stopped playing the game. So second edition made me come back, getting back into it with some of the Melbourne guys like Smorgan and that sort of stuff, and traveling up. In 2019 I've already got 6 tournaments booked, so it's a lot of traveling, but yeah, looking forward to it.
That's some dedication, man. How long's the flight up here?
So to put it in context, every tournament I go to, I have to book a day just to travel up and then a day just to travel back. So for every weekend event, I need 4 days worth of time to attend and travel. So yeah, because I'm not just in Tassie, I'm also up the north in the middle of nowhere. So
solid, dude.
Oh, that's some commitment.
That is rock solid. So anyone who has to whinge of traveling 2 to 3 hours to get to an event,
yeah, needs to come talk to me.
Shut the hell up. Awesome. Well, it's good to have you here, mate. Who else do we have?
I'm Michael from Rocky Infants. Oh, fuck off. Member of the Savage Northmen. I'm with Randy, where you got to travel, take a day to get there. Currently trying to fix my Nagash for CanCon. So yeah, that's me.
You're on the other side. So Randy is south. You are very north.
Yeah, mate.
And it is hot as balls, I hear.
Yeah, not quite as hot as where Tim is, but the humidity is absolute killer.
Well, it's good to have you on board. Who else hasn't introduced themselves?
I'm Hayden, the Angry Wargamer, Brizzy boy, so doesn't travel as far as anyone else, really.
What are you doing? Open up a bag of chips or something?
Oh, it's a Christmas present, mate. Christmas came early. It's a new paintbrush washer. So
serious? What the hell is that?
It's legitimately something just to hold the paintbrushes and holds the water in the bottom, so they don't sit and touch the bottom of the thing. It's quite cool.
Is that one of the ones with the metal grate on it?
Yeah.
Oh man, they shred your brush. Be careful with them.
Oh, I'm taking the grate out and not using the grate. Yeah.
Great way to ruin his Christmas present. He's so excited. And you're like, I was going to fuck your brushes.
I'm all happiness, man. All smiles.
That's it.
Well, it's good to have you back, mate. And you're a Queenslander wearing a Sydney shirt, so showing your true colours.
Oh, caught out, mate.
Who else hasn't introduced themselves? I noticed we've got someone else sneak into the stream. That's Mr. Bigwood. Andrew,
Hey, how you going?
we're well. How are you?
School's finished for the year, so it's all great.
We're actually blessed here. We've got some incredible painters here. I know Tim's been sharing some awesome photos. Andrew, you're a great painter. Not that not everyone's not a great painter, but fuck, man, we're in royalty here. We've got the overlord of Measured Gaming. We've got Conversion Kings and great painters. Wait, I think today's stream is going to be awesome. Anyone else not said hello to the internets?
Hey everyone, my name's Sean and I'm here in Gladstone in Central Queensland. No audio. Can you hear me?
We can absolutely hear you.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. All right. And I was the person who first ran Age of Sigmar tournament here in Gladstone, and just been slowly growing the community ever since.
And we also have a special guest with you.
Oh yes, my son Thomas. I was hoping he would go to bed, but no, he decided he wanted to stay up.
He wants to be a YouTube celebrity. Everyone else said hello?
I'll just give a quick shout. I'm Dayne, playing Daughters of Cain. Hi, how you doing?
Health.
And before, mate, I want you to show off that before we kicked off, people know me calling him as Dayne. Dayne has been working on this amazing conversion, and you were showing it off just a little bit earlier. Have you got it next to you?
Yeah, man, I'll grab it.
Show the internet. This is friggin' incredible.
Man, way to hype it. It's going to be barely painted. I've got to spend like 3 weeks on this still, so I've got to get the rest of my army painted in like, the next 2 weeks.
How are you going to transport that is another thing. So show off the internet.
I'm just writing it, man. I'm just going to write it down. So the Slaughter Queen's not on top. She's just off. So it's just pinned with a tiny bit of super glue at the moment, just because I had a tournament to play up here. Yeah, I'll take her off and paint it in sub-assemblies. So I've got what is his name? The little terrified dude, Johan from the comics. So I got one of him coming in the mail.
Mate, that is that's friggin' crazy. Your conversion.
Taking whips.
Looks like you can get some of the whips from the chariots, the old Dark Elf chariots.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to do another one. My next one's going to be Hag Queen on top instead of the Slaughter Queen. And I'm going to put some flesh back on the Terrorgeist. Because my lore goes along the lines of the Cauldrons rejuvenate the Terrorgeist, all that kind of jazz.
Cool.
So that's definitely a good idea. I tried finding just the arm piece of the Leviathan kit. It's got the pieces in the mouth. But yeah, Barklay's on the...
That's awesome. Actually, while we're chatting, like, what else? What is everyone else working on?
I'm actually doing some of the daughters, the Hag Queen and the Slaughter Queen for my mixed order list.
You say that was your daughter? Is that your daughters?
No, I'm doing it for mixed order.
I thought I heard your daughter, because I know last time we talked, and this is something that I think is still incredible, is that you are bringing your daughter with you to CanCon. So
yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, and she paints her own stuff.
Oh yeah, she's awesome. And you know what? Hopefully, mate, I'd love to see a podium. How cool would that be?
Is she playing?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's.
Oh, mad.
Yeah, we played a few practice games the other day with a mate in town, and she took it to some Sylvaneth. Narrow loss, but she was pretty good, happy with how she went.
Nice.
So what's in your order, your mixed order army, mate?
I've done the battalion from Daughters, which is mixed Stormcast and Daughters.
Oh yeah.
And then added. There's two versions at the moment. It'll depend a bit on what I can get painted, because it's based around my free city. So the version I want to get painted has a couple of extra Stormcast units in it, and then Warden Queen and her bodyguard from this free city. But if that requires an extra like 12 models, So if I'm getting close, I'm going to put a Star Drake in instead.
Nice.
Just because, yeah, Star Drake.
Yeah, why not, man?
That's it.
So what is everyone else working on?
I'm working on some of my corn tonight. Sorry, is my mic coming through?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Excellent. All
And
right.
you got the beauty ring light as well. I thought about getting one of those.
Yeah, this is excellent. Really gets rid of the shadows. Helps.
Whoa, that's pretty cool.
Great. Yeah, I'm working on some of my corn boys tonight. That's probably not coming through very well. I've got 10 of these little dudes left to paint before they're all done. And then I've just got dogs to work on after that. So getting pretty close to having the army finished.
Did you pick up the new box set today?
I didn't, but I do have some dogs coming in the mail that I bought from someone. So hopefully they'll turn up in just after Christmas and start getting those done.
Nice.
And others, what are we all working on?
I am painting 76 dryads.
Slave to the badge paint. Love it.
They're mostly done. I'm just going back through and painting leaves and painting skulls and all of the little details now. Like, I actually want them to look good, not just...
I thought you were bringing Ideneth.
Nah, man. The Ideneth are shelved for a while. They didn't like traveling to Masters.
Yeah.
Is there a story that the internet might want to hear about this?
Let's just say the flight back wasn't kind to them.
Yeah.
At least it was the flight back.
Yeah.
Do you have an airbrush, Hayden?
Nope.
Yeah, right. I've only done 30 dryads, but I did them in a week, and I reckon it's all because of the airbrush. Like, I got about 80% of it done in 2 days just because of the airbrush. Just made it so much quicker.
Yeah, man, that's how I got my army done for the Sydney GT. They just followed Vince Controller's methods and, smashed them out in 3 days.
Yeah, it's all rattle cans and just washes, pretty much. That mostly got them done. It's now just going back and doing details. So, and the basing takes forever on these guys, because who does water effect on every single base in a Horde army?
That's pretty
I
crazy.
did that for my 30-day militia army and regretted it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Randy, what are you working on at the moment?
Well, I've got 3 more snakes to build, and then to finish painting, and then a Lich Priest, and I'm nearly done. I'm not a fast painter or a good painter, but having tournament deadlines really lights a fire under you, especially when you have to have it all painted. So nearly there. I've converted these. So for those of you that don't know, I'm running Tomb Kings. So my snakes are the Necronites, but I've converted the Sepulchre Stalker kit with the Knighthood. And the problem with that is that all of a sudden there's a heck of a lot of detail under the hood and you can't bloody get into it. So it takes me like a week to paint one of these stupid snakes. So it's been a real slog.
I tell you what, though, seeing your Tomb King army at Sydney GT was beautiful. All of those chariots were makes me wish we saw more of that type of stuff in the game.
Well, I can tell you that my opponents thought it was bizarre as well, because my mini victory condition was to charge someone turn 1 with the block of 9 chariots, and when you can make them fly 26 inches, people don't expect that. So that was beautiful.
Yeah, that's great. Anyone else want to share what they're working on?
I'm painting my last 10 bowmen. I've got 16 total models to go in my army. So 10 bowmen, 3 Kurnoth hunters, Bretonnian Lord, Damsel, and then Alariel herself. So I've got the 3 big ones and then some that should be fairly easy. So I'm feeling confident that I'll be able to get it all done. Got to obviously get some terrain done and that kind of stuff in the meantime as well. But I'm on holidays, so should be able to smash it out.
The life of a school teacher, right?
Oh.
Absolutely.
And I feel like Andrew's going to tell me otherwise.
Well, I spent the last Friday sitting in emergency because the school I'm at is built around an old nunnery in Young, and the floor upstairs is rotten, and the chair I was sitting on fell through the floor.
Through the floor.
Through the floor. You can go all the way into the bottom level, but the legs sank all the way through to flush and threw me backwards into the desk and the chair behind me. And yeah, so my shoulder's a bit dodgy, so I'm not lifting my right arm up very well. So yeah, I've had a good couple of weeks.
Not a good time to claim workers' comp when it's school holidays, mate.
No, that's it. Like if it had happened day one of the term, it'd be like score 3 weeks off. But no, I'm just sitting here in pain.
Never lucky.
Yeah.
That's great. I'm working on, for anyone who's interested, working on a troll hag. Thought I'd go down a cave route as opposed to a like a traditional green type like river troll. So kind of goes well with my Moon Clan army that I'm bringing. So. And she has, I don't know if you guys have ever painted a river troll, but if you look at the sack, it is incredibly detailed.
Yeah, one of our guys up here painted one. Pretty cool.
Oh, it's exceptional. There's a massive octopus in here. There's armor, there's treasure, there's bodies, there's it's just filled with dwarven axes and like a cow leg. It's incredible.
You must be getting pretty hyped with all these Moon Clan spoilers that are popping up all over the place at the moment.
I actually am the complete opposite. It is annoying the shit out of me. And the reason I say that is the book could drop this weekend, next weekend, weekend after, the weekend after that. So I don't know if my army list is the army list for now, or if it's going to be an army list that is going to be completely brand new and I have a week to 2 weeks, and any new models that come out, will they be released, and how long will I have to build, paint, and play test them? So I'm excited but frustrated all in the same time.
Yep. The timing window is very awkward.
You reckon you'll be the Nurgle from last year, do you?
What's that?
You think you'll be the Nurgle from last year? Remember, Nurgle was just released for CanCon?
Yeah, I mean, if I could be the Dave the Master Kerr and go second at CanCon with my new book, yeah. And I know his son Wes is in the chat by the looks of it. I'm sure he'll disagree that I could go be like the Master, but look, like I think it goes back to it's a new book, so people aren't going to know how new Moon Clan work. At the same time, I've got to quickly work out how to play them. So I think it's a surprise for everyone.
So you just need to be like Randy and I and play a compendium army, because then you know that it's just never going to change, like ever.
Oh, dear.
I don't know how to respond to that.
He's got a good point.
I mean, I've got a whole bunch of Empire models here. Like, I don't know, if I move my chair, you'll see about 4 mortars and 3 volley guns, and I think there's even an Empire war wagon above me. So, I mean, I can pull out Compendium if you guys want.
Is there 40 swordsmen there, Anthony?
I do have 40 swordsmen, and why do you ask, Michael?
you know why I asked.
No, please tell the internet why would you talk about 40 swordsmen specifically?
Round 1 CanCon this year, I was pleasurable enough to play you. And this was my first time to a big tournament. And Anthony was gracious enough to be nice and kind, and I decided to give him Curse of Years, which I rolled 1-6, and then 1-5, and then 1-6, and 3, and then a 6, and a 1, and Anthony was gone.
1 dice. 1 fucking dice.
Didn't that happen first game of another tournament just before that as well?
Yeah, Masters. Masters prior against round 1 against Clint Mallet. So yes, the Curse of Years is my bane.
I hate that fucking smell.
No, I love it. If you can, like Michael, roll a 6, a 5, a 4, a 3, and a 2, and a 1, and eventually a 1, Like, you deserve to delete 280 points of swordsman.
It's a 16% chance of going off all the way.
Is it?
16%. Yep.
I thought it was a lot lower than that.
Unless you're playing.
Nope. 16%.
Unless you got those Clan Filth dice.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
I tell you what, though, like I've been playing with my Heralds of War dice, right, in the club for the past maybe 4 weeks, and we all reckon that they're stacked. Like those things roll sixes like nothing else.
They roll real well as well.
It's nuts.
I've got 30 of them. They do pretty well, or it might just be the daughters.
Yeah, I'm going to say it's the daughters.
Just walk forward, I hear.
So I'm just looking at the chat, and I can see some good shit talking. Some people are asking who's going to win. Matt Gammy's in the chat throwing out that he thinks that Bone Splitters are going to win this year.
Ask him if he's got a cherry, right?
What else have we got? Elizabeth is taking the Legion of Blood, which is cool, and her partner is a Moon Clan player. Typical Dad Hammer is throwing shit about Scourge Privateers.
Dude, that's out of the ordinary.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds very old. I'm surprised. I didn't even realize he was playing Scourge Privateers. We got Runax in there, the king Gabe himself, the king of team events. G'day, Doom and Darkness. We've got a full house. It's really cool. Dan Doyle's on here, mate. Oh, internet's here basically. And Joel, we haven't heard from you. What are you working on, mate?
I'm working on some goats, some basic bales for me CanCon army. So just plucking off some extra details on some Ungor I painted prior to the massive batch painting I did of 70 models. So yeah, just painting up skulls and stuff.
Mate, you got a supporter in the chat. Gabe the Runax is yelling at Beastmangs.
Yeah, man. He knows what's up.
Gabe knows what's up. Mate, he's probably screaming to the heavens. He loves it, except I think he was a bit cut that the Jabba Slythe got a little bit of a War Scroll adjustment.
Look at me.
Considering he bought 3, I think it was.
4, I think. 4. I think he was saying that he
yeah.
cleared out GW's inventory of Jabba Slythes.
I also own 4 of them, so they needed to get nerfed. There's no question about it.
I can honestly say I've never played a Jabba Slythe, so old
Consider yourself lucky.
Yeah.
Because they were a massive pain in the ass.
The overkill on those things was so dumb.
Yeah,
I agree.
I've got a couple of times where I've had like a jabber off. So yeah, I charged one of the guys, Pat's Jabba Slythe.
Yeah.
And anyway, was killing it, and then the mortal's back killed my Jabba Slythe. And he was like left on 1 wound. It was crazy, just back and forth. Yeah.
Oh man,
Good fun.
Mate, hashtag bring back the old Jabba Slythe.
Yeah, don't care if they say at 140, but 120 for what it was just bonkers.
I mean, if a Stormcast Ballista can be 100 points, sure. Such a So how, like obviously we're on the road to CanCon. We've got 5 weeks to go.
Stop saying it.
Is it 4 weeks?
Fuck off.
5 weeks as of today, so pretty cray-cray.
it's getting close.
Yeah, you're not helping.
How are you all feeling?
Pretty good. My deadline's a little bit earlier than CanCon on Small Con down in Melbourne. So need to have shit fully painted for that. So that's why I've just been smashing it out. Good.
Yeah, I'm taking the kids and the missus up to Canberra the week before. We're going to do the whole touristy holiday stuff. So I'd love to have everything done and ready to go before we leave. So 4 weeks to go. I'll have the army done, and I really want to push for that terrain award or for coolest army, but I don't know that I can push for both. So we'll see how we go.
And which one would you want if you could only pick one? Which is the one that you'd prefer?
I mean, I'd love coolest army, but I've seen some stuff that people are putting together, and I don't know. Like a nomination maybe, but I don't know that I'm a shot for that one.
Yeah, I've got to say the conversions in the AOS scene are just off the charts. There's some of them are mental.
There's some amazing stuff out there.
What scares me is I don't know what Blake Kerwick is working on. So
yeah,
that's the.
Right. I've seen Travis's stuff. Yeah, I've seen Travis's stuff. I've seen your stuff, Dayne. You know, I've seen heaps of amazing stuff, but I've not seen anything from Blake. So yeah,
goes until the weekend of.
Yeah.
So just for anyone who doesn't know the local context, Blake is a local player up in Queensland, and I mean he's a bit of a legend, to be honest. But this year, 2018, he played with a it was either a Tomb King or it was a Tomb King army, but he had converted this amazing display board. His army was fully customized, and Nagash, correct me if I'm wrong, was half snake, half coming out of the water, and like very Egyptian-y type. Like it was
very cool.
That sounds wicked.
It was mental. It was absolutely mental. I remember, and stupidly enough, I got nominated for like best army, and I was really late to the party, and I had to set up right next to Blake, and I'm like, why am I bothering? Why am I wasting my time?
Yeah, I remember when everyone was setting up, there was Blake's army, and everyone was trying to find the furthest point away from it.
Wise move.
But I think to you guys, your point, the level of hobby that I'm personally seeing in the community that people are just sharing is just absolutely phenomenal. So I can't wait to see all the armies and all the conversions and all the kit bashing, and like Tim, the work that you're doing with your like Living City kind of Bretonia Sylvaneth, and Dayne, what you're doing, and even Andrew, like if you guys haven't seen Andrew's photos on his custom Free City and his custom banners, and that native is it a Native American theme you're going with, Andrew?
Yeah, with the Stormcast, yeah.
That is incredible. Like you've got like green stuff, mohawks, and
that's cool.
Like check out his Twitter. I should probably put all your Twitter stuff in the comment section after we finish streaming. But there is some pretty crazy stuff. Hayden, I know your work has been incredible. Everyone's really upped their game this year.
That's the most exciting part about the tournament for me, just going down and seeing everybody's cool armies, and just looking at all the cool stuff that people make. I mean, it's amazing and inspirational to make you want to go back and try harder again next year.
Yeah, me too. That's the main reason.
I'm just trying to make some cool stuff so people will come over and say, oh.
Yeah.
And I think that's the cool thing as well. I know I'm sure you guys have had the same type of thing. People walk around the table and show that real genuine interest in people's armies. It's not just about performance. They want to know the story. They want to know how you did what you did. And, the community has been very, very positive and very encouraging, and it does push you to go above and beyond.
For sure.
I think even more so than, or actually, I know much more so than it was even with fantasy. People seem to be much more invested in the hobby side of things. I don't know whether that's because if you want to, you can do that small model count army and get into it that way, but people just seem to be much more involved.
Yeah, I got a mate in a club in another town, and I won't say which town it is, but they primarily play 40K, and he just gets so frustrated because he's playing against Sea of Grey every week. There's just no commitment to the hobby at all, he's one of the very few people that play Age of Sigmar, and he loves the hobby and loves painting and converting and just wants to see more of it. And I think, yeah, with the AOS scene, it's nuts.
It sounds like my local scene, just Sea of Grey.
So without disrespecting other communities, why do you think that we have this hobby-driven community, or why are we going above and beyond with our hobby?
I was thinking about that the other day when I was mowing my lawn, and as you do, and I reckon it's because of the early days of Age of Sigmar, where so many people had left the game, and it was a really small community. And because it was such a small community, it by very nature had to be a positive community to keep the game going. And I think that positivity sort of spawned this. We want to show everyone how good this game is. And to show people how good the game is, you really have to up your hobby game, because I don't know if you guys listened to the latest Stormcast. I haven't finished it yet, but Jervis Johnson was saying that primarily when he was writing the rules, he wanted it to be a game that looked good, and I think that's such a huge part of Age of Sigmar. And I mean, obviously, other miniatures games can look fantastic as well. But I think coupled with the aesthetic of the game itself, as well as that the origin of the community being one that by very nature had to be positive, really created this sort of amazing hobby-driven community that we have now.
I think there's also the other aspect of it that tournaments, from what I've seen reading some packs and things, they're not afraid to say your army must be full of painted, and if you have unpainted models, I'm taking it off the table. Because I know in my experience from 8th, you could get away with having some unpainted stuff depending on what packs it allowed, but because TOs are able to say, you know what, I want to drive the hobby side of things, it pushes people to do the best they can. And then, like, if you're not a great painter or whatever it might be, you're still trying, and you're going to end up getting better because you're putting some time in to paint and try a little bit more. And then those people will be more inclined to keep getting better and keep trying new stuff to come and play with painted armies. Otherwise, they can't attend some of those events. So I think like the risk and the trade-off there is sometimes worth it to help grow that hobby side.
I was listening to the latest episode today of the Mortal Realms podcast. I don't know if you guys listen to that. It's run by Eric Stonemonk, who's a very narrative driven. Puts out a lot of video around lore. Sorry, a podcast around lore and story. And he was interviewing Brian, who is one of the narrative event gamers, and puts out events and things. And they were talking about this the popularity of narrative, and they made some interesting comments saying that this Age of Sigmar community, and I think you guys are really good reflections on it. We're not 100% narrative players. None of us are probably 100% tournament players. Age of Sigmar kind of fits in the middle, and it goes to people naming their characters and the kit bashing and the customization, the level of detail. And I think our tournament's rewarded as well. I don't know if you guys are in that same bucket, but I certainly
absolutely, man.
Yeah.
I kind of I went, yeah, you know what? I kind of am in the middle.
Yeah. Well, there's part of it too is just simply the fact that similar to what you're just saying, because the community was relatively small, it was very supportive initially. And so the people that have come in have had to kind of adapt to that. And the culture is that, no one says things like someone says, how'd you paint that? And your people were willing to sit down and go, oh, yeah, I can give you a quick tutorial if you like and stuff like that. Whereas in some of the other communities, that's not there.
Yeah, and once you get that initial community established, I mean, it almost becomes a bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy because like the reason that I got into this game was literally walking around CanCon earlier this year and just seeing all the amazing armies on the table. It was just far and away, the hobby was on a whole different level to everything else that was at the entire convention. And I, for myself, I'm not super competitive as far as actually playing the games go. I want something where I can put cool looking armies on the table and roll some dice. And this game to me really fills that sort of niche. So it just draws more of those players in that are just, you know, interested in that hobby side, I feel.
Yeah, I think I saw that a lot at CanCon last year or this year, where a lot of Warhammer Fantasy players had come over and, you know, were asking lots of questions and very curious. And by no means am I slagging the Ninth Age when I make this comment. But I know the Ninth Age struggled this year with at CanCon with lack of terrain on the table. They may have had some problems or whatever it might have been, but their tables weren't nearly as looking as Sigmar. And I think that drove a lot of people's curiosity to say, well, I have had an old Warhammer army, or I am interested, and seeing these beautifully painted armies, these wonderful pieces of terrain. Our tables were game mats, or, you know, Travis had sprayed all of our tables for the 100-odd players. You're right. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy where people are curious, and then they come into the hobby, they lift up their game, and we're all now striving for this this amazing level of hobby.
Yeah, there's some absolutely amazing people online as well that, like, I know I personally follow. I'm sure you guys do as well, but it's just inspirational. Yeah.
So let's. I'd love, you know, given that we've got 5 weeks to go, and, you know, we're all mad rush painting our armies. Maybe for the people who are on the line as well, love to hear what you guys are doing here. But how's your tournament prep going? Have you guys been playing many games? Like, how are you guys going with list design? You know, what are you thinking? What are you playing? Tell the world.
Well, as I said, I've pretty much got 2 lists now, and it depends entirely on what I get painted. And most of it, I don't tend to assemble an army complete and then paint it. I assemble a unit and paint it and so on. So I don't get a lot of practicing with it. I've done in the past, I've done the whole build the army thing, and it's too intimidating, and I don't get through it. So I build a unit, paint it, and build the next one.
I'm painting bloody 60 infantry for daughters at the moment. It's not fun.
Yeah, that's why I don't do it.
Yeah.
Oh, fun times. I do not miss that.
I'm seeing in black and white, man, from doing all the pre-shading.
So it's interesting just hearing you guys just chat quickly, is that you got Andrew who's going unit by unit, then you've got Dayne who's going batch painting.
Yeah. Batch painting witches is not the word.
Yeah, I'm definitely a unit by unit person myself. Don't get into batch painting.
And I think anyone who's kind of it's in a really weird state where is my going to echo? Am I going crazy?
It's not just me.
Yeah, someone's got a.
All right, I'll keep an eye out. Where's that going?
I get Sean.
Might be me.
There we go.
Yeah.
Interesting. You guys keep talking. Interesting.
Yeah, I like to mix it up. I just started talking and thought someone else was talking as well. I like to mix it up and have a bunch of different things on the go. So, I might be building something while I'm painting something, while I'm, got something over at the airbrush station. That way, like if I've got 15 minutes, I know I can put a couple of models together, or I can get something primed, rather than, having to sit down for an hour or whatever. Just having different things on the go and doing it that way. I can just, get stuff in, get stuff done when I've got, little bits of time, and sort of maximize it that way. And it also just keeps it interesting. So I'm not, slogging through, build, airbrush, paint, base, an entire unit of dryads in one go. I built them, 5 weeks ago. I've had them primed for a little while, and I just hit them with the air and that kind of stuff. So just I don't know. I find it keeps it a little bit more interesting and a little less of a slog. And when you've got an entire army to paint in 13 weeks, you want it to be as enjoyable as possible.
That's it.
Yeah, I'm a bit different. I love batch painting. I absolutely love it. I find it really therapeutic.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat, man.
Yeah, I don't know. I just have that mentality, just get stuck in, get it done. I'm not the best painter in the world, but I like my shit to look all right. But I know I'm not going to win awards, so I'm not putting that sort of extra effort in.
That way you can only have a few. You can have just a few paints out at a time as well.
Yeah,
I don't have that much space to work in personally.
Yeah, I know for myself it's been quite challenging, and maybe some hobbyists who you guys might reflect on this as well. But I know I haven't kind of settled on my list yet. And given that MoonClan have this potential book kind of looming, I found it really hard to paint my models, because my goal line is changing literally every day as I explore the entire MoonClan faction, let alone all of the new models that are going to be coming, or allies that are coming in potentially. Like I'm changing constantly. Like I played 2 games today where I was testing out Zarbag's gifts. And it's almost like, well, if I go fully and paint up Zarbag, but then I don't like it, and I bring in, I don't know, squig hoppers, they might not be painted, so then I'm kind of rushing and playing. So there's this kind of, I guess there's this balance where you're kind of testing and kind of finding the army that you want to run, versus, painting up things and then realizing it doesn't quite do what you expected it to do. And then you're kind of in this cycle of then kind of painting and rushing, and maybe not taking the amount of time that you would like.
That's also quite a competitive outlook, though, because me, for instance, I'm not. My list has been set in stone since week 13.
Yeah, I'm pretty much set on my list as well. The only thing that I'm thinking about, and I'm not really thinking about it that seriously, is that the Sacred Protector, the Green Knight, is the most useless 200 points you will ever spend in an army whatsoever. It is like not the last game, but the game before, it never came on the board. It was 200 points just sitting off the board the entire game, because it only comes on the board on a 4+. And when it gets on, it doesn't really do much anyway. But thematically, like it really, really works with the narrative of the army. Its background, the idea, the conversion that I made, it works so well. And so it's a little bit of a moral dilemma. Do I take something that's perhaps a little bit more competitive and sacrifice the narrative, or do I stay true to my narrative and know that I've basically wasted 200 points in the list?
Stick with the narrative.
Yeah, and that's what I'm going to do. I mean, there's not really an issue, but it's just frustrating to know that, there's 200 points there that could make the army a fair bit more competitive. But anyway, I'm also super happy with the conversion and the paint job and the way that model turned out. So there's no way that I'm not going to bring it in to show off.
Yeah, that's really the most important question. Does the model look cool?
Yeah.
I know I was having that conversation with Hayden, who's obviously on the line, where I don't know if it's close by Hayden, but maybe I'll buy you some time. But Hayden has done an amazing conversion with the ravaging jaws.
Oh yeah.
The shark, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not grabbing.
While he goes, pulls it up, and obviously, when we look at the endless spells, no one's rushing out and running to get those jaws on the table. But when you look at this conversion, it justifies taking it. It looks incredible. And I don't know. I think that's as well. Like just. It's not just about optimizing your list. I mean, if you're going there to win CanCon, you optimize and fully take the best list. But if your expectation is not to win it and you want to have 5 or 6 great games and paint up a really cool army on a deadline and meet new people, then take whatever the hell you want to take.
Yeah, pretty much. And that's why I'm thinking about taking the jaws, even though I'm taking a null route, so it's not the current Sylvaneth net list, but I want to take a bunch of endless spells and just throw endless spells on the board. And because I've gone with a whole sea theme with my Sylvaneth, the endless spells with the jaws, I think would actually look quite cool. Just throwing a big shark across the table at other people. So
absolutely.
Cue the Sharknado jokes.
Yeah, that's it. One of my pieces of terrain is actually this, which is a giant kraken. So trying to get that done at the moment as well.
And that's the kind of stuff that makes this game cool. I didn't see that in the other miniatures games that I was playing, and that's how I know this is the one for me.
Yep, agreed. It's when you start looking at the level of creativity and even just when I look at how the hell did Hayden even think about doing that, and kind of seeing those thought patterns, and I saw is it Ollie Ringwood, or I saw on Twitter today someone has built up this amazing boat, like a flying boat, and it's got I can't remember exactly what it's incredible. But the level of creativity in this hobby is ridiculous and inspires me to not only be a good gamer, but to be a great hobbyist.
Did you guys see the squig made out of the jaws?
What was it, sorry?
Did you guys see the squig made out of the jaws? I think it was a giant squig. I don't know what the model's called.
Yeah, a lot of the narrative events in the US encourage you to actually design your own model thing. There were one last year or this year just gone, but they all had to design their own airships regardless of faction and things like that for use in the game, and that sort of stuff. Again, you don't see it in other systems.
No, I think that was at Nova, and I know Luke Dadhammer Stone is putting together quite a large narrative event for Australia for next year.
Yeah, I've been helping him with some of the fluff.
So yeah, that's really cool. Is that we can rally behind some new idea. So have we had much practice? Have we been playing games, or have we just been fully painting focused?
Had a few games personally, probably about 4 or 5, and I'm still a bit rusty with the old sort of Brayherd themed army, but yeah, it's going all right. I'll get there. You reckon?
I've had 1 game, and that was against a Stormcast Ballista list. So, not really something I want to be playing against, because my army is a very hard counter to it. I'd rather play stuff that I don't really see very often. So I've got a 1,500 point event tomorrow that I'm going to see how it goes. Run pretty much the normal list minus the big lady. So
Anyone else been playing games, or is it mad hobby?
Nah, playing one game.
Nah, no games here at all.
I've played all 6.
You played all 6 scenarios?
Yeah, with the Daughter of Cain list that's coming from up here down to CanCon. We wanted to play all 6 to see how the Realmscape command abilities worked.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, they're quite interesting and different. Adds a little bit more thought process to your usage of command points.
Elizabeth in the chat says, Hayden, she thinks she knows the event and she'll likely see you there. So if you know Elizabeth.
Yeah, I know this.
Elizabeth, props on Legion of Blood. That's where my heart is. I love Legion of Blood. I played it most of last year, and will probably play it most of this coming year as well. Absolutely love it. 15 Blood Knights, can't beat it.
So, Michael, I'd love to throw it back to you, because there are going to be people who haven't played enough Sigmar just yet. This might be their first tournament, maybe aren't even playing with the Realm rules yet. What did you learn? How did it all go for you? Like give us the rundown.
Well, I think the Realm of Light's a good one to start. I think that's the first round we have, and the command ability there allows you to strike first in combat for a command point.
Yeah.
And there's been a few questions asked if you can use it, if your opponent uses it first, and how that works. So my piece of advice is if this is your first event and you're coming, get onto Clint's FAQ post or your questions asked post on the CanCon page and take good attention to that.
Yeah, good shout out. Good shout out.
That is a good point. I've got to ask him what happens with the interaction of that command ability in the Flaming Book. And
for the benefit of people that have no idea what you're talking about.
So it's the endless spell for Beast of Chaos, the Wildfire Chords. Basically, when it flies over a unit, you fight last in the combat phase. But the command ability from the Realm of Light?
Yeah,
lets you attack first before any other unit. So,
Hayden, question from the chat: what is the squid? So, Wes has asked. Tell us more about squid.
So I originally got it. It's a Reaper Miniatures Kraken. I originally got it for its base because the base that it comes on is a ship that's coming out of water, and that's what I've put my Aspect of the Storm on. So I got this. It's been a piece of terrain since about Sydney Slaughter, and it's just squid.
So it's going to be a piece of terrain. How are you going to move that into a piece of terrain?
So I've got like some cork that I've built up to sit about 3 or 4 inches high, and it sits on top of that, and that's going to sit on top of an MDF board. So, yeah.
A flying squid.
That's it.
Anyone else had any practice with the Realm rules? I know I had a couple of games today, and I've practiced a few games. Anyone else had any experience? Like, how did you find it?
Yeah, so I've played 4 of them with my current army, 2 for 2, which is actually better than I thought I would be. I love having that extra spell up my sleeve because I have, between Alariel and my Enchantress, I have 5 spells, but only no 4. So knowing that 5th spell, that Realm spell, has come in useful a fair bit. Realmscape features rarely play a big part in the game. Like, they're there and they're fun and they change things up, but I find they rarely play a big part. And the command abilities I rarely use as well. It's mainly the spells that I've been getting into.
So you found that the spells are a nice supplement for the armies that may not have a spell lore.
Absolutely.
It's interesting because I've probably used more of the Realmscape features. So I played 2 games today. One was against Liam Burnett Blue, Shadowhammer, hashtag he believes he's the Australian villain of Sigmar. And then I played Ben Spinetti with his daughters, Ardeneth Dibkin. And we played in Shaiish, which was a very tame one. We got +1 to the spellcast, which was interesting. And then the one with Liam definitely messed with me. So we played 3 Plasters of Arcane Power, and it was a Sylvaneth army. So obviously he was dropping bases all over the place, and hiding dryads in those bases, which caused that -1 to hit being near a Sylvaneth Wildwood. But then the Realmscape feature we got, which was is it Dazzling or whatever it is, it causes -1 on a terrain piece. So a lot of my attacks trying to take off the objective was -2 to hit, which was very difficult.
Oh yeah, that's -1 to hit if you're entirely in cover.
Yeah, and his dryads were obviously in the Wildwood base, which also get a -1 to hit. So he was getting this -2 on dryads who were just completely body blocking me and summoning more. It was interesting to go through that motion and test myself in some of the harder ones as well.
There's that one I played one in that the Realm of Gur, where if you fail a charge, if you can charge and you don't get it, you take mortal wounds. Yeah, that was crap. Because I can't roll more than a 7, so you must attempt to charge. If you don't make it, you take wounds. I was like, oh well, there's another unit gone.
Need to get some of those Heralds of War dice, mate.
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah.
Mate, Merry Christmas, Wes. Wes is dropping off the chat. He has to get drunked out. Don't know what that means. I'm sure he's probably like a mad bodyguard somewhere. But Wes, thanks for dropping by. Yeah, I'm enjoying the realms. Actually, I'm enjoying the realm rules, but I haven't stupidly enough played with the secondary objectives yet. I think that's something that I need to start playing with. Have you guys had much luck with the secondaries, or not kind of worried about that just yet?
We played, we didn't use them, we didn't think about it.
Haven't used them.
Personally, I haven't even looked at them.
There's a couple of tough ones there.
So it's not just me who's completely forgot about it.
Yeah, pretty much.
I haven't forgotten about it. I'll look at that on the day. Because, I mean, I know it can impact things, but it's not really on my radar.
I don't think it's something that you can really plan around, They're all just sort of there.
You can plan around them because you can pick them before each game. You've got to use one for one game, and you can't use it again. So one of them's the Behemoth one, so you sort of got to wait till you play an army with a Behemoth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I know the Sydney GT at Moab, the last couple of games with the secret objectives and the extra missions there, I just couldn't do them in the last couple of games.
Yeah. I didn't even score one of those.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Like in our game, Andrew, I didn't score mine, and that was the only one that I didn't score it in.
Yeah. Because I got the first few because I was with the choices. I'm like, okay, I know I can do that, but then I'm left with the ones that are hard to do anyway. And of course, by that stage, I was playing you and other people.
into the habit of is just getting familiar. So it's not a surprise. It's like, oh shit, I've got to remember my rules, the realm rules, the scenario rules, my secondary objectives, my opponent's rules. Like trying to get into that rhythm as much as possible. You're right. Yeah. Like picking a secondary is hard, but just getting in that mental habit of being aware and going, well, which one scenario and what's the achieve? I think, at least for me, something that I want to start practicing and getting into the habit with as we get closer.
Didn't someone do up a cheat sheet?
Someone did do up a cheat sheet on the Realmscape features, but he has not done anything around the secondaries.
Someone's getting slack.
Well, somebody bought a 3D printer today, so he can print up terrain for Sydney GT. So,
So pretty.
Printer, and I've got 10 months to print and paint.
So you're not doing commissions then? Not yet, anyway.
Commission prints.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I'm pretty sure Bigwood, was it you that was on Twitter and you already asked?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's number one already. He's already hit me
I'll
up.
take number 2.
Have you got to play with the thing yet?
Sorry?
Have you got to play with it yet?
I haven't got. I literally bought it this morning. So
Yeah,
it's been delivered from China.
Yeah.
The best one, like the best low cost one I could find.
What did you end up getting?
I can't remember the brand that I'm paying for advertising. It's but it's from everything I can see on review sites and what hobbyists are using, and generally it's what's it called? I'll see if I can bring up the name. But it's very popular and be well regarded. Creately, I think it is a Creately 3D Ender. So it's I think it's about $400. Put like an SD card in it as well, so I can run it without being connected to a computer. So I can just set it up and print off terrain pieces, go to work. Occasionally, it means that I can put some really high quality terrain down and pretty much build terrain. And it obviously allows me to scale as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, as I said, like I said on Twitter, you know, I've been looking at all these different Kickstarters and stuff, and it's like, oh wow, that terrain's great. Then you realise it's just the files. It's like, well, I don't have a 3D printer.
And there's so many cool pieces out there. Like Printable Scenery has this amazing set that's a very elven set, and then there's a dwarf set, and that's the kind of stuff that you don't see GW doing anymore. Is these very faction focused terrain, and it you know, like I really like the GW terrain. I also like some of that quirky stuff that, you know, Dark Fantastic Mills does. That's very thematic to armies.
Yeah, the Dark Fantastic Mills stuff's beautiful.
Oh, it's some of the best. Love it. I can't more.
Yeah, I love the direction that all the 3D printing is taking a hobby, and it's super exciting. Like you were mentioning, all that cool terrain stuff. But I've got a mate locally that plays Kings of War that actually 3D printed himself an entire army of miniatures.
Yeah, right.
Like fish people. It's fantastic. Like they're fairly simple, but it's just awesome. Every time he goes to a tournament, someone buys the army off him and he has to print himself another one.
That's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
But I saw some simple things like this little invention that allows you to put like a little ring around your washers to kind of stop it from tilting over. And I like that's brilliant.
Movement trays.
Movement trays as well. Yep. So let me ask you guys, how's like, what do you guys think of the big, you know, quote unquote, let me quote first, the big FAQ, and did it change anything from you guys? I know Morgan has changed his he submitted his list, and I know he changed it probably because of the doppelganger cloak. But what did the big FAQs mean to you, if anything?
Nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mine
Well,
wasn't even on the list, so nothing.
well, Tomb Kings didn't become legends, so that means I can still play at CanCon.
Yeah, that's right.
That was a pretty big deal.
So it wasn't that big for you guys.
No.
Well, you just got to look at what was actually done in it, and it's like, well, it's not really changing very much for anyone other than Iron Jaws and Corn players.
Poor Iron Jaws.
I think you probably talk to the wrong group. Most of us seem to be more hobby focused. So, you know, FAQ drops. Yeah.
Well, let's just shut the whole conversation then down, Andrew. Like, let's just shut the whole thing down then. Like,
Yeah, move on. Next question.
Did you actually face anything?
What was that?
Did you have to rebase any of your squigs, Anthony? Your Forge World models?
No. I picked the right bases for those guys. Although I think they said might need a bigger base, but they can get. But I'm not rebasing
Did you guys see
that.
how big they made the Dreadsaurian base? Good lord.
Yeah.
It's basically a plate.
Well, how big's the Dreadsaurian?
Yeah, but I think it would fit on I think it's the biggest oval. It fits on that just without too much overhang. I think it's the tail that overhangs, but
Yeah.
anyone that's running a Dreadsaurian is going to have a bit of trouble in maneuvering it, I reckon, now.
Well, I think if I play Christopher, I'll make sure can't run that Dreadsaurian.
Yeah, take it off the table.
Mate, get it off. Illegal. Well, actually, let me ask you this one, Andrew, especially, since you're on the stream, and even Tim. The Firestorm Allegiance seems to have gotten a bit of a boost. Now that, armies that sit outside of the Firestorm can be brought in as an ally. Do you think that might bring in more Firestorm armies?
Well, I'm actually looking at, because traditionally with the Free City, I'll just run either whatever whole allegiance I can or just order. But I'm looking at probably running Hammerhall Allegiance in this one, just because I can get that extra bravery and stuff. But Hammerhall's not that big a deal from the FAQ because it's any order.
Yeah.
Whereas if I was going to call it one of the other ones, I could probably do it because, I do have the elf guy, the elf assassin guy that's I want to do him, whose name escapes me. Yeah. Basically, because the only way I could use him is in mixed order or Hammerhall because he's just elf order.
Yeah.
Tenebral Shard.
Yeah. I know Luke Stone, who is running around with Scourge Privateers, is getting excited. He can bring some heart renders potentially if he went down a Free City route. So I think it opens up some options for people.
Yeah. And I think the Free City Allegiance, as it stands anyway, tends to be more for those people that do want to do similar things to what I'm doing, which is, your own thing. And they're unique armies. I haven't seen a lot of them on the table for that reason, I think.
Do you think we'll see less blood letters after the changes? Do you think we'll see more Slaanesh with the new box drop? Like, do you think some of these recent changes are going to change list design, or do you think people are going to stick with what they got?
You'll definitely see more Slaanesh, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Those fiends are off the charts.
Yeah, I'd love to see some Slaanesh on the table.
As a Slaanesh player, I don't rate the fiends at all. I reckon they're way too expensive. Yeah.
I haven't seen how many points they are, but their stats.
180.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's 14 wounds for 180. It's
Right. Okay.
But in my opinion, the whole purpose of Slaanesh is to generate depravity points. Like
exactly.
And they spend 540 points or whatever on a unit that can't even generate any.
Yeah, that's it.
I don't rate them for that. I think they're too expensive anyway.
Yeah. Their new War Scroll looks great, but if they're that many points, I wouldn't bother.
How many?
They're even 160. That'd be nice, but
they were 140 in their current, previous. By the way.
How many are in the unit now?
3 still.
3.
Yeah.
Do you think it's enough though to do you think people have enough time to build, paint, and play with their Slaanesh, or do you think people are going to buy it, maybe hold off a little bit?
I think you'll find that people running Slaanesh at CanCon already were playing them. I don't think you're going to see too many armies there.
Yeah.
There wasn't a lot of Slaanesh players in Australia until just recently.
Yeah. Because you went to the Masters with Slaanesh. But in their Slaanesh, how many were in the kind of like the rankings?
There's only like 3 or 4 of us.
Yeah, I mean, if Nurgle last year, if the book comes out and new models get released, like some people get them, painted up and on the table to have at the event. I'm pretty excited to see what a potential new Keeper of Secrets might look like if they drop that thing on us.
Just give us a giant booby snake, lady.
Yeah.
You already got a boob snake mount for the demonic lord on mount or whatever it is.
Yeah. Just need a really big one.
Creature cast to do some great ones. It could be Demon Princess.
Yeah.
Raging Heroes do some pretty awesome stuff as well.
Yeah, Raging Heroes suit that aesthetic really well. Fucking awesome.
Did Anthony drop out?
No, I was listening to. I don't personally know much about the Raging Heroes, but I know.
Oh man, you got to.
Facebook's been posting up. I think Hayden, you must like the page because it comes up often, and I know those models look incredible. And I guess this is a blessing and a curse that we don't have any GW sponsored events. Is that we can go out there and get some of these third-party miniatures and not worry.
She's Raging Hero.
Wow, what is she meant to be?
My Slaughter Queen.
Yeah. They're such cool miniatures. I was looking at them before I actually bought all my witches.
Yeah, I'm going to get some of the females with halbergs for my extra blackguard.
Yeah, I've got some of them.
Are they the right size?
Yeah, they are. They're a little bit skinnier, but they're women. They're proportioned as thin women, so they do work.
Yeah, my
the crossbows aren't
great. Anyway.
Yeah, don't get the crossbows. They're not great.
No.
Do you think the battle boxes are going to change maybe the meta or the dynamic or the amount of people playing armies? Like, do you reckon people go grab a double force box of Daughters of Cain and go running around with a shitload of witch elves and
Mate, they'll buy the box, paint the first 10 witches, and then go play whatever they were going to play in the first place, I think.
Yep.
That being said, though, I think that box set is like really good value given what you get and what they do in a Daughter's army.
The better box set was the Allies box that they had out originally, which was the Cauldron, 10 witches, and that's it. But it was only like $110.
The Cauldron Guard box or something.
Yeah. I think I bought like 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah, I got 2. Could only get 2.
Yeah.
Anthony, you asked before if people are going to use bloodletters again or not. Have you spoken to Matt Campbell about that?
I was playing with Matt Campbell today, so we had a CanCon practice day, and I think he's it's a big nerf. It's I think bloodletters copped it. It was funny because we were having a joke and saying that Daughters of Cain do a better death save than death. They do better bloodletting than bloodletters, and they're fast as hell.
Yeah. Was it a 14-inch charge you pulled off against me, Hayden? Something like that?
Yeah, it was a 14-inch charge for the cogs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's bloody rookie numbers.
I know, right? It's with the Ideneth, I got a 18-inch charge off with the Eidolon from 3 inches out.
Is that all?
Good. That's good.
Yeah. So that was an interesting roll.
Just head over to the next table, did you?
No, because you have to charge the unit that you pick with the Soul Scryer. So, yeah.
So Ranger in the chat has said, and I probably agree with his comment. He said, I reckon I'm going to see a lot more daughters soon because price was a big factor or one of the big issues. And obviously they're playing really well. There's a lot of really good lists out there at the moment. We know the Witch Elves are good. You know, Marathi's great. We know the Hag Queens are great. obviously the painting can be a barrier, but definitely going to probably see more Daughters of Cain out there.
Yeah, for sure. They're definitely a good army to play for now, anyway.
Yeah,
I guess the question is, will people get them ready by CanCon? Will it be 3-color minimum style, or is painting up 90 witch elves a stretch too far?
It depends on the list that they're bringing, because if they're bringing a heavy snake list, sure, you're definitely going to see Daughters of Cain, because you're only really bringing 20 or 30 snakes. Whereas opposed to bringing a witch list where you're bringing 60 to 90 witch elves, in a witch heavy list, you're probably not going to see that many of those unless they've already been doing it since launch, or
I'm going to get 20 painted. But that's for them. They don't have all the witchy special crap because they're just in mixed order.
Yeah, they don't have all the prayers, and the prayers is what make Daughters of Cain absolutely broken. That and Mind Razor.
Yeah.
So.
Question from the chat that I'll ask Joel first, because it's a question to Joel, but maybe then open it up to the rest of the group. What is your goal for CanCon, and what is your ideal finish? So this has come from Gabe the Runax has asked.
I'm looking to go top 10. I'm trying to prove a little bit of a point here. I think I've already told Gabe this. Not taking any Enlightened, not taking any Zangor, just not taking any Zancian Beasts of Chaos. I'm doing it old school. Yeah, so top 10 for me. Trying to do better than the start of the year, which was 8th, I think I came. So.
What did you take last year?
I took a Vanguard wing.
Oh.
That was first ever tournament. Took Vanguard wing. Started the year off in style.
And that was the worst because GW had released the FAQ on the Vanguard wing rules, but the cutoff had happened, so you were using old rules.
No. That FAQ came out like the day after, I think on the Monday or Tuesday. It was just after CanCon.
Yeah, it was after.
Yeah, we were talking about it.
I thought it happened just before. I thought it was
it was just after CanCon. Yeah.
Well, either way, you don't.
Yeah.
What's everyone? How do you want to finish, or what's the ideal placing for you guys if performance is important?
So, for me, performance in the actual games isn't important at all. In the one tournament I've played so far, I won 1 out of 5 games. So if I equal or beat that, so 2 out of 5 games would be or 2 out of 6 games rather, it is, would be a good finish for me. But I'm aiming to go down, roll some dice, and meet some really cool people. So hopefully I succeed in that.
Do you have and maybe this is for everyone as well, if gaming is not your primary goal, do you have any painting goals or hobby goals that you'd like to achieve at CanCon?
So for myself, I don't have a specific goal because whilst I do enjoy painting, and that's the more fun part of the hobby for me, when you put 200 odd other people in the same competition, basically anything can happen outside of your control, similar with the gaming. So I'm not giving myself any hopes of any kinds of places as far as best armies or best painted goes. Just want to go down there and have a good time and chat to people about the hobby. Will be successful as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I'm similar to James. If I can get 1 win, I'll be happy. If I can get 1 win round 1 against Michael from Doom and Darkness, I will be absolutely elated and over the moon. That would really put a smile on my face. In terms of hobby goals, I'd love a Coolest Army nomination. I know I don't have much of a chance of winning that one, but getting a nomination would be fab. Other than that, 6 good games and some good chatter.
Well, I'm not fussed, to be honest. I think I had more wins than I've had in 2 years at the Sydney GT. So I'm done for the next 3 or 4 years, I think.
Yeah, so I'm hoping to at least get one win, but I always sort of just to give myself something as I call it a moral victory. I always give myself like a little bonus objective to achieve. So at Sydney GT for me, it was making the 9 chariots charge someone turn 1 from my deployment zone. So for this year, it's just going to be throwing 6 snakes at someone and taking a unit off in 1 turn. That'll be my goal for every game.
I'm sure the snakes will do that.
Oh, mate, just with Righteous Smiting and the Exalted King on Chariots command ability, you're hitting on 2s, winning on 2s, proccing extra hits on 5s, and then mortal wounding them on wound rolls of 6s, well, 5s. It's just stupid. You just take stuff off. It's great. And then they fall apart when someone swings back at them. But that's fun.
So GW, if you're listening to this, we've got to compendiumize and then move them to legend. So we've done half of the job.
Well, that's what my box for 2019 is. So I'm looking at some Seraphons so that I can have an army that doesn't have the threat of legends hanging over the top of it.
Anyone else? Sean, Michael?
Yeah, my goal would be to win Best Death again. I know it's going to be harder this year, but I hear Matt Tyrrell's coming after it, so I'd like to defend it and make sure I get better than him.
It's a pretty good goal. Best Death. It definitely has increased in popularity in the last 12 months.
You know what? I'd change my goals. I would like to get Best Bretonian.
We'll just give it to you now, yeah?
You might be safe, man.
I don't know, actually, because I don't know, friend of the channel, I know he was in the chat earlier, Paul Gritsty. I know he's a passionate Bretonian player. So I don't know if he's running that or Swift Talk, or I don't know what he's bringing. But
Man, I hope it's Swift Talk.
I know he likes, he's much like you, Hayden, where he likes his elf, so... let's see.
Yeah.
Well, apparently I'm the #1 player in the country for Order Serpentis.
Yeah, buddy.
yeah, because I'm also the only one. But that's yeah.
That was me last year for the 2017 season with Order Draconis before the Bobo incident.
And everyone realised that
they're absolutely good. Yeah. Apparently, getting across the table in 1 turn is quite good with dragons.
Just a couple of dragons.
Yeah.
So Paul is playing Swift Talk. So looks like Tim, you're scraping through this one. You're okay. You're you can take Best Bretonia.
Woo!
But Swift Talk, that'd be interesting. What's my goal? What's I'm talking a lot of shit on the internet.
You guys just got to beat Dadhammer, don't you?
Yeah, like, that's freaking me out. Like if he's, I don't think he's in the chat. I'm sure he's working. He's a chef and he's probably making some beautiful Greek food at the moment. That if Luke does watch this, mate, you are scaring the shit out of me. I am freaking out, pissing my pants.
He posted his win ratio this week.
Yeah, he's talking a good game. Like I think this one like challenged me, and he's a big wrestling fan, so am I. So we're talking a lot of shit and really hyping it up. And I think the worst possible thing could happen is that like the Honest Wargamer puts us on stream, game 1, Moonland Book gets it come up, put on game 1. I lose to Dadhammer himself. I think bring shame to my family. So
shout out to Rob. That has to happen.
No, please, no, Rob, no shout outs, no, don't put me on the stream. I
make it interesting.
No.
Come on.
I already almost lost on the Warhammer TV stream. I did my best chance to do that. I don't want to test my fate.
So is your goal to win Best Destruction, Anthony?
I don't know. I'm really torn, and I think if we go back to right at the start of the stream where I said I'm really confused, with this book looming. I don't know. Like I don't have enough practice with my list. I'm playing with lots of units, but it hasn't come together yet. yes, I would like destruction. I know Gammy's still here, and Gammy's going for top 25 and bone splitters. So if I'm going best destruction, I need to get better than top 20 and better than Gammy. So Gammy is, although to be fair, Doom and Darkness has swapped from Chaos to his Gutbusters. So I know he is going hard for best destruction too.
That's right. He'll be at best 5-1.
So really, to help me get to best destruction, Tim, I'm relying on you to take down the challenger to the throne.
I'll do what I can, mate. If the Grail Knights can pull off an epic charge into one unit of those ogres, take them down in a round of combat, and I'll be screaming for the lady at the top of my lungs. That's what's going down.
I expect to hear that because I remember Ben Zagami from Victoria in the first CanCon Age of Sigmar. He was playing orcs or bone splitters, and he would warg every time. Like he'd hear this scream of warg, which was beautiful. So I expect to hear that scream, that "for the lady."
Well, look, I'm a drama teacher, so I know how to use my voice. So expect it.
Have you got a knight's helmet or some form of shield or goblet or chalice to bring with you, Tim, so that you can appropriately fit the theme of your army?
Look, I'm sure we can figure something out. I'm just
waiting for Gemma to bring a bell again and start pissing off all
No, Hayden, no.
So Gemma, for the benefit of people, Gemma.
So Gemma is from the Failed Charge up in Toowoomba. She plays Maggotkin of Nurgle, and every time she rolls a 7, she would ring a bell because that's grandfather's number.
That is the best.
That's pretty good. And I'm sure, especially if you're playing against Gemma, that would just piss you off.
Gemma's an absolutely lovely person, but that was amazing when she did that.
I love it. So Tyson Gleason in the chat is saying that he wants top 50. Doom and Darkness is throwing a lot of wrestling stuff out as well. So he's been posting a lot of tugboat. So I know the dad bods are coming. Runax is saying, obviously referring to Doom and Darkness and the Gutbusters. Fingers crossed that the amazing faction, which is Firebellies and Man-Eaters, really do roll up into Gutbusters, as per the GW website. Don't think it's going to happen, but would be cool for him to have a fully fleshed out army.
I'm keen to just go down and have 6 great games.
Absolutely.
Yeah, when push comes to shove, I think that's the main goal, is to meet new people, which is why last year I declined a grudge. It was people I already knew, and because I declined the grudge publicly, Liam, I got to meet Michael, which is really cool, and I think that would be, I'd love to get people not in Sydney and people who I've never met before, or never played before.
And that's another thing about this CanCon as well, is seeing some familiar faces again, like catching up with yourself and Joel from Bendigo when you live so far away. It's good for these events to catch up with people that you met at previous events again.
Yeah, and I think, like a lot of us are staying at the Caratel, so I don't know if we should be sharing this publicly, but I know we're probably going to be having a barbecue on probably the Friday night, so I think
it's going to be a wee bit loose.
Yeah, for anyone in the chat, like if you guys want to come and hang out on the Caratel and bring some meat, bring some drinks, and just hang with us and talk Sigmar and meet people before we, it's not weird. Come, like it was really cool to meet so many new people this year, and the relationship started well before any dice were rolled.
Because we did it this year at CanCon as well. Had the barbecue on the Friday night.
Yeah, that's what I'm referring to.
Yeah.
And if you get down to Canberra earlier, Charles Black and Dan from AOS Shorts is running a Trans-Tasman Cup between Australia and New Zealand at the Jolt Games. So there's going to be like a 5-on-5 or a 7-on-7 type battle. So again, great opportunity. There's going to be a bunch of Kiwi people coming over. So it's very, very community kind of feel. And there's a lot of buzz. So do get involved. Brody's going for not wooden spoon, so pretty cool. Just got to beat
that Brody Payne.
This is great.
I'm just waiting for one of the games Chris Tott and Matt Campbell have to play.
Well, we know they play game 2 almost every tournament, so I'm sure they're looking forward to meeting up in a 220-player tournament. No, that's great. Any armies that you don't want to face? Not players, but armies.
Daughters of Cain.
I'm happy to play against Daughters.
Yeah, so am I.
Yeah, don't give a shit. No, I'm just happy to verse some nice people, you know. Be good.
I'd hate to see Sylvaneth because none of my bases fit in woods. None of my bases fit in woods at all.
Not even your snakes?
No, so I've put all my... So that's basically the size of the snake base compared to 32 mil.
Yeah, right.
So I've put them on big bases because, I mean, I've just had to do my best to guess what the sizes are because there isn't a basing chart whatsoever, and I just think they look cool on big bases. So I've probably inconvenienced myself, but it's really rough when Sylvaneth player just drops stuff, especially on the objective missions where there's only like 2 or 3 of them, and you're just going, all right, cool. I'm gonna sit over here while you cap objectives. Yeah.
Elizabeth in the chat has said that she doesn't want to play Nighthaunt, which I'm assuming. Do you think we're going to see much Nighthaunt, or do you think we're going to see Legions of Nagash with Grimghast and Nighthaunt units in Nighthaunt? So in Legions?
I think personally we'll see more Nighthaunt purely because it is a 220-player event. It's not like going to Masters where everyone's thinking Grimghast in Legions.
Yeah.
So... Yeah, I think we'll, and bringing the starter box too. It's just more accessible for newer players, and those newer players also want to jump into CanCon, joining in on the fun, you know. So,
and at this point, everyone knows that Grimghast in Legions of Nagash is cheesy as heck, and so you know, us decent Australians are going to avoid that.
Yeah. Just so you know, I'm taking Legions for Grim.
How many you got in your list now, Michael? Is it?
I still got 50.
50, yeah.
Filth. I love it.
Could be 60.
Nah.
Yeah, a good comment from the chat is that there's going to be a lot of new players with pure Nighthaunt. So, and that probably extends to Stormcast Eternals, where people probably are playing their first tournament or their first large event, and they've had the Soul Wars box and they've expanded it out. So,
yeah. How many ballista bombs do you think we'll see, or sure heart bombs with evocators?
Have you guys seen many of that in your communities?
No. Seen ballistas, haven't seen short charge yet. No one's really picked him up. Just, I think we've nutted out as a community that sure, like evocators are awesome, but when you're dropping them down with Sure Heart, they're kind of just there. Like we all know how we all bring chaff screens and stuff. So
yeah. I've seen a few up here, but you're right that once they drop down, they're kind of stuck on people unless they use a Vexler or something like that to whip them around the board.
You really got to make sure you kill what you charge. You know, using an Alpha Strike like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I've definitely seen a few ballista bombs. Obviously, Dave, the Master Kerr, had two or three ballistas.
Yeah,
yeah, he had 3+. Yeah, and
Luke Taylor took one as well.
Yeah, Luke did as well. Gabe is saying that there's a shore charge happening in Brisbane. So maybe up there's some hot cheese up in Brizzy.
Don't know what you're talking about.
Don't know. You guys are narrative gamers.
Yeah, that's it.
The narrative.
Yeah.
Elizabeth's asking how many Moon Clan or Grot players do you think we're going to see? Assuming the book drops with an appropriate time, do you think we're going to see an uprising destruction, or do you reckon it's too little, too late, or it's too late anyway?
I think personally, Destruction need like a Legions of Nagash kind of battle tome to pick up the faction. I think a Moon Clan book isn't going to turn the whole thing around.
Yeah,
you
seem like one thing's coming.
There's a lot of people that already play Moon Clan anyway. So I don't know, maybe depending when the book comes out, if they might switch to stuff they've already got and add a few bits, but it'll depend what's in it.
Yeah, I think GW's kind of shown their cards in the last few battle tomes. You know, Legions of Nagash, Beasts of Chaos. We've had these combo type books. Yeah.
More of it plays GW.
What's that?
More of that, please.
Yeah, they're great. I would love to see more combo elf books, more combo, bring back the free people, but under like the Empire again with, I guess expanded free cities, bring in
Ogre Kingdoms, as you were saying before.
Ogre Kingdoms. There's so many cool opportunities to kind of bundle up these factions that it's been 3 years now. Haven't probably had the love and probably won't get love. So, bring the Spider Fang in, bring in,
bring the Skaven back.
Yeah, bring the Skaven back. They've got such a huge array of models.
It's just bring out a book, Children of the Horned Rat, and then chuck everything in it.
Yeah.
So Gammy's calling a Christmas Day release. He's saying that the Warhammer community site has been taken over by Moon Clan, and he's right. We've had the Hammerhall here, Hammerhall Herald post about Moon Clan. We've got the Christmas banner on the Warhammer community site. We had the Destruction Gods post. I know Warhammer Weekly this week has called the 5th of January for the book. Gammy's calling earlier. He reckons maybe Christmas Day or maybe that Boxing Day type release.
Does Game Workshop do that, though? A Christmas or a Boxing Day release? Doesn't sound like them.
I can see them probably doing an announcement, maybe.
Yeah.
But I think, personally, I probably think Warhammer Weekly is probably on the nose, though.
Yeah.
I think the Nurgle book had come out on the 5th, so I think the idea or the theory is that GW wants your Christmas money. Lots of kiddies get money from Santa Claus and potentially have that pre-release or that pre-order either on the Boxing Day, so the Boxing Day Saturday, which I think is the 29th, is a rumor, but the 5th is when they drop the Nurgle book.
Yeah. Gives big new release like that, allows all the kiddies and, well, just everyone in general something to spend all their vouchers on.
Exactly. But if it happened, if it did pre-order on the 5th and then would drop on the 13th, that may or may not, that might get cut out of CanCon. So that back to Elizabeth's question around Moon Clan, I think the release date and when stuff is available will impact if people are bringing it or not.
How would you feel about that, though, Anthony? Given you're playing Moon Clan, would you care too much if the book comes out after the cutoff for CanCon, and at least you can play with stuff you've got to practice and had the time to play with, versus trying to learn something completely new?
I feel like it's so I made this conscious decision at Sydney GT where I announced a cutoff for lists, and the Beasts of Chaos book got announced. So the pre-order was the list submission, and then the week after was when the book was in people's hands. And I know personally that if the book was released and I missed it by a week, it'd almost like this be this game of what if. Like in 2 weeks' time when I'm actually playing at CanCon, it's almost like, well, I'm playing Moon Clan, but it's not my full rules. It's not all of my options. So you kind of, I don't know, like, is it a shallow victory that you're not getting to beat the proper Moon Clan? is it just like the luck of the dice? And unfortunately, potentially dodge some new rules and some spells. If I take the Moon Clan, which obviously I am, I've got to learn a lot of things. So obviously I can get into a rhythm and play an army now that could fundamentally change. I may be not allowed to take a Troggoth. Maybe there's no such thing as squig hoppers anymore. So there's a lot of uncertainty.
I think what you got to remember is that. I think what you got to remember is that Clint allowed the Nurgle book last year.
Yeah.
After it came out.
So let me throw the question to you guys. How would you guys like playing me? Or, I know Seth from New Zealand's coming over with Moon Clan. I know Joel's coming over with Moon Clan from Sydney. How would you guys feel playing somebody who had a book that may have been denied playing with their book because of a deadline? Like, is it okay for you? Do you feel like...
I didn't mind because I played Dalton at CanCon with Maggot when he took Maggot Kin, and it was great. I really enjoyed it, except that fucking Rodigus, that piece of shit. He set the tone for every other Nurgle army I played that year.
But what if Dalton wasn't allowed to use his book, even though it was physically in his hand, or he was able to use it?
He should have been allowed to use it. Really,
no, but I'm saying, like, if he didn't, like, how would you feel as an opposition? Like, would you give a shit?
I feel bad for him.
Yeah, so would I. Yeah, because it's not the full rules. It'd be like, yeah.
But they were going to take that army anyway.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. See, I think from my point of view, the thing that I'd feel bad about potentially is that your opponent might be like under more undue stress or pressure. Because imagine having to learn basically a new army. If the changes are massive, imagine having to have all those changes and then go to an event where you have a time limit to play a game against an opponent, and you may not have had enough time to get yourself prepped. Like, that would be really rough and really harsh to have to deal with. I think that'd be like, for me as an opponent, I'd feel bad if I knew the person on the other side was potentially struggling or having issues because they were just struggling with all the new rules and all the changes that they might have had to put up with. Because then, are they really able to put it all into the game? Like, if you're trying to be competitive.
Yeah, and then you can look at the other side of that too. Is if this is an army that's released and it's really OP, are they just going to go through and swarm all the other armies too?
Well, Joel's probably the best person to talk about this because Dalton's part of your club.
He is, yeah. I don't think he'd really care because he's got a pretty awesome list anyway. Moon Clan don't exactly need a book. Well, they obviously do need a book, right? But like, to be competitive, they don't. I think having a book will just change a few things, and with GW's release schedule, and you get all the leaks like at least a couple of weeks or a week leading up to it anyway. So you can sort of build your list off with league points and allegiance abilities and all that sort of shit anyway. So,
There's like 30 million videos on YouTube that tell you exactly what everything does, and
exactly.
Yeah, Gabe has raised an interesting point in the chat, and it's a trap for inexperienced players because you don't know your rules, and there's lots of different trap for you to not know your rules. But equally, the impacts to your opponent, where you're not potentially getting full 5 rounds because you're lower than you might be with something that you've practiced with for a long time. So there's gotcha for both sides. Why you also set these rules and try to avoid these bad experiences for everybody, but it's a fine balance.
Yeah.
I honestly don't think it's going to be too much of an issue for new players because new players tend to already select an army to paint and play what's already got a belt home and already been supported. So it's normally the more veteran players who have been collecting for a while, and are playing with those older armies.
Yeah.
I can't imagine too many new players walking into Games Workshop and saying, I want to start a Moon Clan army and give me all the goblins.
Thing is, all GW stores only have one box of goblins on their shelves at one time. So,
for now.
Yeah, for now. So, yeah, they won't be doing that.
No, and if you go to the Games Workshop website, you'll see the Mingler Squig is no longer available, and Cave Squigs have been gone for a month, and it's half an army at the moment.
Yeah.
What are you hoping to see from a Moon Clan release, Anthony?
Don't ask me this because I know a few things. I've heard. I keep my ear low to the ground. What would I like to see?
And then listen to the mushroom.
So what I would honestly like to see is I don't want a Moon Clan book. Start the controversy. I don't want a Moon Clan book. I want a Beast of Chaos book. I want a combination goblin type book. GBH 16, a strong Spider Fang Grot. They were good. And they've really dropped off, and I think their models are incredible. I love the Ragnarok. I love the spider idea. It's spooky as hell. Love to see them brought into the somehow. I put a whole bunch of feedback to Games Workshop on points for new Hayden. I think I put in like 3 entries, and one of my entries was I'd love to see as a battle line somehow. Whether you take Troggoth Hag and you can make an actually army of Troggoths. Same as I'd love Gargants, I'd love to see a giant army somehow. There's so many great models that we don't see because they broke up the old school Orcs and Goblins faction. So what would I like to see? I'd like to see a mixed Goblin theme somehow. I'd love to see those old destruction models brought back in somehow. Obviously, endless terrain piece, that seems to be the common thing to do now. I think what you'll see is Warhammer Quest had those goblin
the spider knight. Yeah, I was going to bring that up to you actually.
I reckon if I was doing like a Beast of Chaos type book, I would have 3 pillars. I'd have a Fungoid pillar, I'd have a Moon Clan pillar, and I'd have a Spider Fang pillar under like this goblin idea.
At the same time, though, they had the Mistweaver, who's not part of Deepkin, but she looks like a Deepkin model from that exact same box. So they might be just trying to keep those guys out.
So so when I was at Blood and Glory last year, I was at the seminar with Pete Foley and Johnson and Games Workshop, and I remember them talking about the way they create models, and they say that often it's the model creators who start the process. Very rarely does someone say, here's a set of rules, develop a model for it. And there's been a few incidences where they brought out a kit of models, which has been a bit random. But the whole reason they've done it is because the developers have designed all these wonderful models. In 40K, for example, you had that Sister of Battle flying Saint Celestine. You had the Eldar girl with a big kind of trail with the cat, and basically the designers had created all these great models, and then they looked for this opportunity to bundle them together and release them. So I think that's the kind of same thing. They've just got all these great ideas, and they've explored the realms, and the Mysteries of Shah and some of these new models. But yeah, back to the question. I would love to see goblins and some of the older destruction stuff brought back in somehow, and if you look at the Warhammer Underworlds, where you've got like those stalagmite type and cave squigs,
that's great.
Maybe that's how they unlock the Moon Clan have it's enough, but they unlock something through the fungoid
fungus troll.
Yeah, I mean, it's in the new warband, right? You've got the troll, you've got the squig, the bat squig, you've got some stalagmites,
mushroom squig.
Do you have I know there's a Black Library book coming out mid next year, and they talk about Hammerhall. So the book is based in Swishy, and they talk about Hammerhall trying to defend from like these cave spores that are creating like drug zombies of the humans.
That's fantastic.
So I don't know if that aesthetic will play a part, and there's summoning of spores or influence models. Yeah, I don't know. What would you guys like to see from goblins?
I'd like to see. If I'm not mistaken, I think the 8th book, the goblins were like they were like the Little Wa. So similar to what you were saying, Anthony, it'd be cool if they're like the Beast of Chaos book for goblins was something like the Little Wa, and it had all the goblins thrown together. Because I think that's a really cool idea. Just pull back all the stuff that they pulled apart when they were building AOS to begin with, and give it more of a overarching tone for one thing. Just like Beast of Chaos is now very primal, but it still has that chaos feel. So that would be really cool.
Forest goblins. They used to have the spider riders. There were goblins on foot, forest goblins on foot, and you could actually do like a spider fang. It wasn't called spider fang then, but a spider fang army that covered all your bases.
Mm.
So that would expand that faction out a bit, I think.
Any other ideas or any other wishes that you think could be explored?
I know we talked about it a little while ago, Anthony, but I'd love to see the Fear of Elves come back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I would not. I personally fear elves. I do not want my goblins to fear elves.
We just need to bring Groom the Punchback then.
They did bring him back. He was a made to order.
Yeah.
So, what are your hopes? So maybe this is more of an expansion. And you know, Gabe has said he'd love to see some more named characters. I'd absolutely love to see more named characters. I'd love to see not just in Moon Clan, but I'd love to see things like Flesh Eater Courts get their king. I can never pronounce his name, but the King of Ghouls get a character for them. I'd love to see more named characters.
Well, what is it? There's 2 in the entire Destruction Allegiance. There's normally just Gordrak, but then you got Zarbag now from the Underworlds.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they need some more. I think Stormcast have, what about
30 million.
Yeah.
Stormcast definitely need more.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, like
that's be due a new battle tome.
Yeah.
That's what I'd love to see out of a new Grot Battle Tome is actually another Stormcast chamber released.
It could be the Moon Cast Grots or Storm Grots.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
All the Gelatinum that Stormcast sucked up from the Mortal Realms back in the day come down to fight so they don't get stabbed in the knees.
Yeah.
Maybe when Gorka Morka were aligned to the Parthion, some goblins repented and they're now Stormcast.
Or alternatively, when they were up there helping, they nicked plans for the Forge of Salt, the Forge, and they're just like, yes, we'll make our own little Stormcast. Yes.
It's like a guild thing. They're stealing boats from the Caradron, and they're Squigmar's champions, Elizabeth says. That's good. I like it. Squigmar.
It's good.
So maybe as we're kind of wrapping up the stream, I know for some people it's getting late. Maybe it's a nice kind of opportunity. Like, what are you guys expecting from next year? Like, what would you guys like to see GW do, release, expand the world? Like, what are your hopes and dreams as we plan to the future?
I just told you, new Stormcast chamber.
Yeah.
In all seriousness, I'm quite happy where the game is at the moment. Obviously, there's factions that need to be fleshed out and given battle tomes. I really hope for all the Destruction players' sake that they do get something. Same as the Skaven players. I hope that there's more of those big battle tomes.
Yeah.
I'm kind of
new terrain too. New terrain.
I'm hoping we see some light and dark elves.
Yeah, I was about to say, I want to see a Malarian model.
Yeah, man.
That'd be sick.
Because the rumors are that we're going to have the light and the dark, or not dark elves, but
Shadow elves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Teclis and his boys.
Yeah.
The ones that work, not the flawed ones.
Yeah. The Tyrion and Teclis with the angelic elves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think we'll see more elves, considering this year we've had 2 elf releases?
Would not surprise me still. Because just look at how big elves were back in Fantasy.
Man, if they're in hits, I'm going to lose my shit.
Yeah.
$70 for a box of 10, they'll make them.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'd love to see Wanderers get a revamp, some new Forest Dragon models. That'd be fucking awesome.
I'm sure Gammy's just like screaming on going yes please as well.
Seriously, the Sisters of Twilight on Forest Dragons, one of my favourite models, same as Orion. Love them.
Yeah.
Absolutely love them.
Yeah, the Orion model's beautiful.
It is. And it's held its age pretty well, considering how old it is now.
So Thomas Holdsworth, the king of the giant rats, is giving us a wink, saying get ready for Dwarven updates. Do we think we're going to see the dwarfs get an update? Do you think Fire Slayers are going to get some love with the Gordrak, Gotrek coming out? What do you think the dwarves have for us?
I'd rather see Dispossessed get a look in.
Yeah. So would Dan.
Do you think there's an expansion somewhere with the dwarves? I know we've talked now Shadow Elves and Dark Elves, or Shadow and Light Elves.
Yeah.
You've got wicked dwarves, so you need heavily armored dwarves, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
So it'd be sick to get a new range of models of just heavily armored Dispossessed. Even though like the Thunderer kits and all that are still pretty cool, but
Yeah.
yeah.
They do need just some warriors, because the old warriors are...
Yeah, they're the same era as the Chaos Marauders, aren't they?
Yeah. It is crap.
Yeah. Do you think maybe it sits within like the Iron-Willed Arsenal? Artillery outside the ballista is kind of dropped off. Would we like to see more artillery back?
For sure, 100%.
As Daughters of Cain? Hell no.
It's hard though with Dispossessed, because if you want to take even your dwarf cannon now, they're allies.
Yeah.
And this that I've been thinking about as a Free People player, and that is that the Free People allegiance isn't worth it now compared to running a Firestorm army. And to Gabe's point, is saying that Dispossessed need their war machines back. I agree that the Free People need their war machines back. I never left my house without 2 volley guns. I'd always have a great cannon. I'd always have a mortar, or I'm going to show my age here, but I had the Halfling Hot Pot. Like, do some of these factions need their old war machines and that kind of, again, this Beast of Chaos, legions kind of bundling again?
Well, I think the thought of having more artillery and stuff like that would be really cool, because in the games that I've played, combat's usually the big decider, and a lot of times it's how that melee combat goes. But I played one game at Sydney GT against a guy who was playing Wanderers, and I mean, he shot all my stuff off, but I still had a good time, because it was just really cool to see an army that had that ability to just what they did was shoot you.
Isn't that the definition of 40k though?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's interesting to have armies that can function really well in a shooting space, because
that kind of died when people were just running cone rucks though, and just sitting there and just rolling dice at people.
And carriage on clown cars back when that was a thing.
And there's an argument on Twitter, that says that Caradhran are the perfect counter to Nagash, but Caradhran kind of copped it a little bit, and those Ren -2 shots could be keeping Nagash in check, and bringing back a shooting meta, or maybe not like like a 40k, but certainly a medium to a medium kind of range shooting meta could make sure these big combat beasts or these magic casters are not running around full health, absolutely ripping things to shreds.
I wouldn't even say it's about the meta. I'd just say, like, if you had some armies that were able to excel in that field a little bit, it could add a bit of more variety into what you'd face on the table.
It'd definitely knock Daughters down a couple of notches.
You take Daughters of Cain, for example, and if they would have versed like a shooting army, you wouldn't have any hags left. Characters like that deserve to die on the first day.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny. It's funny you say that because in my Moon Clan army, I've got a Squig Gobber for that reason. It doesn't need line of sight. It's got a 30-inch shot, and it is my one and only counter to try to like bring down the power level of Daughters. Just otherwise, I can't get through 90 Witch Elves.
That said, though, if you're taking a Calibron and you're in the Realm of Light, Hag Queens could be -3 to hit.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But even shoot, like if you can get Marathi to lose 3 wounds before she transforms.
Yeah, she's still taking half her health. Yeah.
Yeah, she's much more manageable when she's the big one because that's only 2 turns and you can kill her.
I still think we're in the magic dominance at the moment, though.
Yeah.
I'm telling you now, the Ungor Raider meta is about to begin, mate.
Yeah.
The Ungor Raider meta.
Yeah, is that the one with the Vanguard move?
Yeah, so they move 6 at the start of the game.
Yeah,
they've basically got a 22-inch move on the first turn with an 18-inch bow.
Yeah, that would be lovely.
Yeah, and then in my CanCon list, unmodified 6s to hit, 2 hits, army wide, and that includes Ungor Raider shooting. So
that's pretty good, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds like a Chaosic Cannon Rock. I like it.
Yeah, it's except I don't have to roll. It's just 2 hits instead of 1.
Yeah.
It's pretty, So there's not a whole lot of dice rolling involved.
That's good.
So Gabe agrees with you. I think you've got a kindred spirit up there in the Great North, where he's saying that the Ungor Raiders are the business and use 2 exclamation marks. 3 actually. Whoa.
3. Whoa.
Whoa. While Brody wants to see more people. Respect.
Yeah, I've got 60 Raiders in my list. So for CanCon. Should be fun. Bring on the Daughters.
More Phoenix Temples.
We've already got James. James Morehouse he's running Phoenix. Is that right? Either way, I think we've got some. I think we have a good mix. And I think if I bring this back to our topic of discussion, which is obviously CanCon, I think if I was to reflect back on CanCon 2 years ago and the list diversity versus 2019, I think there's going to be a lot more diverse lists. I think we're going to see interesting lists. I think we're going to see, Beasts of Chaos would have never been on the table a couple of years ago. Now people are going to start practicing. What's that?
I've played more than 20. That's all.
Well, I'm still technically right because you would have been Bray Herd or War Herd. But
yeah.
My point is that I think if you're preparing for CanCon and you're not practicing the scenarios and you're not getting exposed to armies that you wouldn't normally get exposed to, know that Daughters are going to be on the table. Know that Stormcast and Nighthorn and Legions of Nagash and Deepkin and Sylvaneth have got their return. Get exposed, go play some armies, become familiar.
That's it.
Yeah.
Get shit done.
Get shit done. Any final parting words, guys? Anything you want to say to the internet? Any shout outs?
Want to shamelessly shout out Bush Radio. It's a new podcast.
It only took you 2 hours and 9 minutes, so well done.
I was waiting for an opportunity. Yeah.
So for people who don't, what is Bush Radio? Is this like country and western music? Like, what's the deal?
Yeah, basically. Except we talk Age of Sigmar sometimes as well.
A little bit of dueling banjos.
Pretty good. Yeah, we've got a new episode coming up. today or tomorrow being released as well. Just going to be talking about CanCon. So
Great. And where can people find Bush Radio?
Podbean and iTunes. There's links and shit everywhere, so should have you covered.
Awesome. And I'll make sure that I update in the next couple of hours. I'll get those links in the description below. But check it out. These guys mean business. 3-4 players at the Masters out of the 24 players. So these guys know their shit. So definitely check out Measured Gaming and Bush Radio. Any other shout outs? Where can people find you guys?
There's all Chris Welfare launched the tickets for Sydney Slaughter today as well.
Definitely an event to go to.
So Sydney Slaughter is a 2-day custom scenario event. So definitely check that out. Good call.
It's both the mortally wounded boys now too that are Mabry's back for good.
Yep.
Not just Chris.
Any other shout outs?
Waiting for Gabe to finally accept that Adam Burt grudge.
Is he doing a Liam, or is he he's in the chat? He's been talking smack the whole time.
That's it. Him and Bertie round 1 on the stream. Let's do it.
Yeah, that'd be good. I don't have to play Luke Stone on the stream. So yeah, do that.
Definitely. He was. I think it was the Masters interview or something like that. The Postmasters interview when they were talking about the old grudge. He got thrown under the bus by Gammy and Dave.
Gabe saying on the chat that there was no grudge, so he's denying it like Cranky Liam.
Yeah, that's it. He's doing a Liam.
Yeah, cool. He's taken for the. Any other shout outs? Hayden, where can people find you?
I am on Twitter and on Instagram as the Angry Wargamer. And yeah, that's me.
Andrew, what are you doing these days? Where can people find you?
Twitter, it's Lord of Tuatha. Yeah, that's pretty much where most of my stuff goes. There's also the Hour a Night Miniature Hobby Challenge on Facebook where a lot of people put their stuff.
Awesome. Danye, where can we find you?
Just Twitter or Facebook, Dayne Thompson. So you see updates in my my cauldron and my pretty ladies.
James?
You'll find me mostly on Twitter, Spongy Paint, where I stick all my stuff, occasionally lurking around in the Australian Age of Sigmar Facebook groups as well. But Twitter is the most place where you can find me.
And did an episode in the last couple of weeks with the Heralds of War, which is a great episode. So if you haven't heard that episode as well, check that out. It was you and Travis.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Got to chat about my corn army that I'm doing at the moment. It'll be coming to CanCon, and everyone should go listen to it.
Randy, where can people find you?
Well, I'm mostly on Twitter at Taudor1990. And look, I might use this as a chance to shout out Lord of War for the Dwellers guys, because I'm sure I'll get a earful from Smorgan more than anyone if I don't. Those guys seem pretty excited, and it sounds like they're going to try something different, and like just something a bigger hobby event than just a tournament from all the hype they're pandering out. So that's in June sometime, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah,
I think we've got 15 boys from Bendigo rolling down for that.
Yeah. Joel, I know you talked about the podcast, but if people wanted to talk to you more and find out more, where can people find you?
Yeah, Twitter is also great for me at JoelMcGrathMG for Measured Gaming. That's where all my shit is. Or alternatively on the Facebook sites.
Love it. Sean?
Yeah, you can find me at Twitter at Shimzo30. I'm also on Facebook at Gladstone Tournaments where I put all my events. And I just, since Michael's left, I might do a shout out for his War of the Northern Realms that's happening in May. So for those guys who can get up there, I highly recommend it.
We have a lot of events coming up next year. We have narrative events, team events, we have tournaments, we have 1-dayers, 2-dayers, we have doubles events. Mate, next year is absolutely jam-packed. Last and finally, coming from Maury, Australia, where can people find more about the Aussie Wargamer?
Yeah, if you want to hear more of my voice, YouTube at the Aussie Wargamer, and all my hobby stuff goes on Twitter at Aussie Wargamer.
And definitely worth checking out. He's got some amazing conversions and art going on at the moment. Guys, thank you so much. This has been a pleasure. It's good to see 5 weeks to go that we aren't freaking out just yet.
Stop saying it.
I'm saying it 5. I want to make sure that you remember 5 weeks to go. You're all going to hope and pray and put your thoughts on that. The Moon Clan book gets pre-order on the 29th. It's in my hands for the 5th. My birthday's on the 11th, so GW is going to release all the cool stuff for the 11th. I get to hobby on my birthday. I'm going to come in, get best destruction, and beat Matt Gammy for it. Gabe's still in the chat, giving it to us. So I think Gabe needs to put his money where his mouth is and jump on the next stream. He's absolutely giving it. So, but guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. Have a great rest of your weekend. We'll check in 2 weeks' time. You guys are obviously welcome to join in again. Otherwise, have a great weekend. Hope you guys roll lots of 6s on your except Battle Shock. I certainly need to get some more 6s in my dice rolls. See you guys.